Hey my loves, welcome back for another video. If you're tuning in for the first time, I'm Ashley and today we're working with Afsisterwig to bring you a gorgeous bob lace wig install. Now this one is going to be super beginner friendly. I'm not going to do very many speed ups so you guys can see live in motion exactly how I'm going to install this wig from start to finish. So of course this is the wig here. It is a 10-inch bob. They provided 6-inch deep parting invisible knots, and as you guys can see, this is fake scalp. They actually call it the diamond lace fake scalp, which is really cool. Being that I've already worn it, I can tell you it's super awesome. It definitely looks like skin whenever you melt and install your wig. So this is what the wig looks like off the bat when you first put her on. Now I can say this one is very nicely made, but the only thing is it does not come styled, which is really not a big deal. It's pretty much perfectly styled as a center part wig. I feel like you can get away with wearing this one glueless as long as you attach the elastic band they provided. And there I was kind of showing you where the fake scalp starts and begins. You can kind of see the demarcation in the very front if you look closely, but once it's all said and done and the wig is installed, you definitely don't see it. Now here I'm showing you that they did pre-pluck this wig, but you mainly see the benefits of that behind the hairline. What that means is kind of like if you part out what will be essentially used as baby hair, you can see that it's nicely pre-plucked, but in the very front you kind of almost feel like it's not pre-plucked enough. So you can go in and open up the parting or the hairline a little bit with your tweezers. For me, I opted not to. I kind of feel like it's enough for what I'm going for. But again, the more you pluck it, the more natural it'll look, as long as you don't pluck it too much. Now, one of my favorite steps to do is to pretty much prep my lace wigs before I apply them. I do love to co-wash and allow the wig to air dry just to get a feel for the hair and also to disinfect. With this wig in particular, I decided to skip that step, and you guys will see that I do still prep the wig first before installing and cutting the lace. I find that the least amount of manipulation you have to do after the wig is installed is better. I don't know, it just always comes out nicer in my opinion. And there I was spraying my heat protectant, so don't forget your heat protectant. I pretty much use a heat protectant any and every time I have a straight hairstyle or anything that I'm going to do where I use the hot comb and or flat iron. So now that we went ahead and pretty much hot combed out the roots, pretty much like you would do with your real hair, like before you style it, you have to go in and hot comb and make sure everything is together. Now I would go in with a tweezer and kind of tweeze out the hairline if I chose to do so, but because I'm not going to do that, I'm just going to go directly in and pretty much remove all the excess lace. So you guys can see here, a lot of my videos I'm notorious for doing my speed throughs. From this point forward, I definitely want to slow it down for you guys and make sure that you are gasping or grasping the concept of your installs. Here you guys can see I am using an eyebrow razor to go ahead and cut off the excess lace. Now I do like to use scissors. That's the way I taught myself in the very beginning and what I've been comfortable with because I've done it for so long. But I'm definitely getting much better at this, which is pretty much the eyebrow razor that you can get from any beauty supply. Normally they have them like near the checkout. You can just ask for them. And what I like about this, if you look kind of close, the cut or the way the lace is coming away is pretty jagged. Now in theory you would think I would want it to be super neat, but the neater it is when you cut the lace, the more you can see it. It was kind of jagged the way you see here. It makes it a little bit easier to detect the lace at the hairline and see exactly where it starts. Hopefully that makes sense, but it definitely does make a huge difference. If you do watch my videos and you see in the past I've done comparisons where I've like cut the lace half the lace off with scissors and cut the other half off with the razor, and you can definitely see that the razor is a better option. But if you are a beginner, definitely do or go with what feels comfortable to you, because I definitely took a little bit to understand this concept. It didn't come right away. So I did go ahead and apply adhesive. I am not using a glue. Instead, I'm using a free spray, a holding spray, and I like to use this on a daily basis for my installs just because I'm not a fan of glue. I just don't like using glue on my hairline. I feel like it's a little bit more messy for an everyday use, even for just maintenance. If you do an install with like a ghost bond or a got to be, or not a got to be glue, a ghost bond or a bolt hold, it definitely looks amazing at install, but once it wears off and it's time to kind of like reapply, it's almost like a little bit messy in my opinion. And again, I wear wigs on a daily basis, so I like something that you know, I can just reinstall within 5 to 10 minutes, sometimes less than that, and be good to go without having to clean it off too much or too often. Now you guys can see, you guys, I'm pretty sure are used to me speeding through this process, but again, I feel like if I slow it down for you guys, you can really see in real time what's going on. I literally applied a thin layer of the got to be glue. I let it get tacky for about maybe 20 seconds, and then I applied the lace on top. Now you're gonna pretty much need all your fingers for this process because I kind of use my fingers to kind of hold it in the middle, and then I kind of like pull it along the sides and like hold it down there, and you kind of just want to press it in and hold it for as long as you can until it gets tacky. You can also use a blow dryer on a cool setting to help you to speed this process along. I kind of feel like a lot of the times it just feels sticky, but it will give you a stronger hold if you do choose to use the blow dryer. In my case, I have little ones that are asleep, especially my newborn, so sometimes I'll opt against the blow dryer just by default of not wanting to wake up anybody in the house. And this is what it looks like once it's installed, and you can see behind the parting it looks nice, and you can kind of see that it's not perfect per se, and it's because I'm not perfect with the way I apply that free spray. And I'm just gonna go in and separate baby hair. I've decided I'm gonna do baby hair from pretty much ear to ear on this one. If you don't want baby hair, just brush all of the hair backwards, and you can use something like an edge control or a wax. I usually will use a wax and a baby hair brush to kind of like brush the hair and smooth it backwards to look super nice and sleek. Just a tip. Now here I am using that same eyebrow razor to go ahead and cut out my baby hair. Now again, I go in a little bit jagged. I don't want the parting of the baby hair to be straight across, and I don't want the cut of the baby hair to be like straight across and blunt. So I kind of just go in, and each piece is generally speaking like a different length. And then I'm just going to go in with the foam lotion. Everything I'm using is listed in the description box, and you guys can just watch as I go ahead and do my baby hair. You guys can see once I swoop, if I don't like how much is there, I kind of will brush some of it back. I kind of use my opposite hand and that finger to kind of hold it in place and swoop. You guys can also see that when I swoop, the first swoop is never like perfect, so you gotta just guide it and play with it. And honestly, the first time I swoop it, sometimes it's not perfect. Like you can see how it's so imperfect there. If you get frustrated and you feel like you keep doing it and it's not coming out right, what I usually will do is just leave it there the best I can, move on to the rest, and once all of them are done, I'll let them kind of dry and set with a scarf. And then when I come back in with the baby hair brush and redo the baby hair, kind of so to speak, it will have that swoop already formed, so I can go in and redo it, and it already has the shape that I want. Hopefully that makes sense. Now here we're going to finesse. You see, it is very hard for me to get my sideburns to lay down and without using a blow dryer or something stronger. Normally I will bond the wig down in front of my sideburns so that it can kind of bond to my skin. When I do it on top of the sideburns, it never sticks. So that's a rule of thumb. In this case, I wasn't trying to like force it or do too much. So a lot of the times, like I don't want to be bothered with trying to continue to make it work on the sides. And the most mortifying thing is to have your sideburn tabs or your ear tabs like sticking up and you're out and about and looking crazy. So you guys can see, if you want to rewind it back, I pretty much just swoop hair on top of that and tuck it behind the ear, and it pretty much never like comes up or becomes clockable, if that makes any sense. It's almost like I'm tucking it behind my ear, but I'm styling it first, and it's a bit of finesse, but trust me, if you try it, it definitely does work. And because I did go ahead and put a scarf on to let everything set, before you add the scarf, you can definitely spray a little bit more of that got to be glued spray on top of that ear tab and then put this on, and that will help it to melt and kind of stick a little bit better as well. So now that we're pretty much done with our install, I'm going to work on the ends. Again, this one came as a center part, but the hair pretty much wasn't styled. This one is 10 inches in length, 150% density. They did send over a size medium cap, which didn't fit too big. I definitely could have used a small for a more glueless fit, but this one definitely fit nice and it wasn't too big or too bulky by any means. Now my only gripe about this one is you guys can see in the front, and I'll kind of show it off. I just kind of felt the very front needed to be a little bit thicker, and kind of the trick of how, like, see how I'm showing you here, I hate it when it's a little bit thinner in the front. It happens with almost most of the bobs that I work with. Look how nice that looks. I'm gonna go ahead and fix baby hair because it is a bit much in a second, but as I was saying with the front, when it's too thin in the front, the way I feel like it is, you can do feather going backwards, like kind of like this, but with the flat iron, or just bump it really tight and like bump it towards the rest of the hair. And you'll see that I do that in just a moment, and that's going to help it to look a lot more full. Now we're pretty much again done with the install, but I kind of just want to show you that I did go in with the holding spray, and I kind of just wanted to do the waterfall kind of, you know, bump in the front, if you will, to show off that hairline. You guys can see that lace pretty much looks like Scalp. If you look at the lace and how it lays on my hairline and it blends, I put no concealer, no powder, no foundation or anything in the parting, and I feel like it does an awesome job to blend with my skin, and it just lays flat and it looks so perfect. Everything I did in all of these steps pretty much contributed to it looking so amazing, from flat iron, a hot comb, to the sprays I used, to, you know, adding a little bit of heat here and there, also to going ahead and using that scarf. Now this is the piece I was talking about. I wish it was a little bit thicker. As you guys can see, I kind of curl it much more tight so that it kind of curls towards the rest of the hair, and it's gonna make the hair look so much more full and healthy. Also, if you don't like the way the ends look on a wig, you can also cut. This is a 10-inch bob. It will look super beautiful and even more full as an 8-inch bob in my opinion. Nonetheless, you guys can see, like, once I go ahead and bump it, it looks super healthy and beautiful. And that's pretty much it for this install. I love the way it looks, and more importantly, it looks super professional. Again, if you don't like the swoops, you can alter them. I'm going to show you in just a moment how I alter mine slightly to my liking. And here is a 360 look at what it looks like all the way around. Don't forget to bump the back. It definitely is hard, but I tried to get it as best as I could. Now, I feel like the swoop in the center is a little bit much, so I'm going to just use a comb and some scissors and kind of just fix it. But you guys can see how it's now formed to a swoop. I just took some scissors and cut it shorter. I feel like it was way too long and it just looked like, hey, look at me. So that's the thing about it. When you guys see me cut down the baby hair, I kept it pretty long. Normally I go like half the length of what I cut it, and it looks a lot more natural. The longer you keep the baby hair when you cut it down, the more fake it looks, if that makes any sense. So this looks a little bit better once it's all said and done. And I am going to go back in with the swoops on the side and make those a little bit smaller too, and it'll just not be so, you know, in your face. So that's pretty much it for this look. Don't forget to check out AF Sister Wig. They do have sales going on for the holidays. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share this video with your friends. And as always, I'll see you in the next one. Smooches!